The United States is intensifying economic pressure on Cuba as President Donald Trump pursues a strategy aimed not at immediate regime change, but at encouraging gradual transformation within the island's communist system. Facing a deepening economic crisis in Cuba, triggered in large part by U.S. restrictions on oil supplies, the Trump administration appears to be prioritizing stability over sudden political upheaval. Officials fear that a rapid collapse of the Cuban government could unleash chaos, violent unrest, and a large wave of migration toward Florida, a scenario with historical precedent during the 1980 Mariel boat lift and the 1990s migration crisis. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, long known for his hardline stance against Havana, has recently signaled a more measured approach. After years of advocating for the downfall of Cuba's government, Rubio has suggested that change does not have to occur all at once. Instead, the administration appears willing to consider economic reforms as an initial step, potentially paving the way for eventual political liberalization. This strategy mirrors Trump's recent approach to Venezuela. After U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in January, Washington cooperated with his successor to secure access to Venezuelan oil, rather than forcing immediate democratic transition. Similarly, U.S. officials are reportedly exploring dialogue with figures inside the Cuban leadership structure, including Raúl Guillermo Rodriguez Castro, grandson of Raúl Castro, and a high-ranking state security official. Trump's pressure campaign has sharply strained Cuba's economy. Following Maduro's capture, Venezuela, historically Cuba's primary oil supplier, halted crude shipments to the island. Shortly after, Trump issued an executive order threatening tariffs against countries that provide oil to Cuba. Mexico, the island's last major supplier, stopped shipments as well. Cuba has since reduced work and school schedules and announced it can no longer reliably refuel foreign airlines. Despite the mounting crisis, the administration has shown flexibility. On Wednesday, it announced it would allow the resale of Venezuelan oil to Cuba if transactions benefit the island's private sector rather than its government. Rubio has framed the situation as an opportunity for reform, arguing that Cuba's socialist economic model is unsustainable. However, Havana has drawn a firm line. It is open to negotiation, but will not discuss constitutional changes or matters of sovereignty. Unlike Venezuela, Trump has not threatened military action against Cuba. Analysts suggest that a sudden intervention would be far more difficult and potentially destabilizing. Cuba's communist leadership has been entrenched for nearly 7 decades, with no organized political opposition remaining inside the country. Many dissidents are either imprisoned or in exile. Experts are divided on whether the administration can find a cooperative partner within the Cuban system, similar to Venezuela's Delcy Rodriguez. Some argue that meaningful change would require direct negotiation with the current government under President Miguel Diaz-Canel rather than relying on internal factions. Concerns about instability are long-standing. U.S. intelligence assessments dating back to 1993 warned that the collapse of Cuba's government could trigger prolonged unrest, violent retaliation, and large-scale emigration to the United States. That same 1993 estimate predicted Fidel Castro's government had a better than even chance of falling within a few years, a forecast that proved incorrect. Today, the Trump administration appears determined to apply pressure while avoiding a sudden power vacuum. The approach reflects a delicate balancing act, weakening Cuba's authoritarian system without provoking humanitarian catastrophe or mass migration. Whether economic strain will compel Cuba's leadership to pursue significant reforms remains uncertain. But after decades of failed predictions about the regime's imminent collapse, analysts caution against assuming that this crisis will finally bring about the island's political transformation.